Hello everybody, this is Allstars Gaming and welcome to another episode of Let's Play the Sexy Brutale. And, and what is to be the final episode of the Sexy Brutale. All that remains is taking care of the remainder of the brochure, filling out all of the entries that require Thanos? Thanos? Have I been calling him Thanatos this whole time? Probably. Oh well. Power. Unfortunately, we can't do anything for the casino because the two rooms, the casino center and the butterfly house, are pretty much occupied, and we can't enter them until basically the end of the night. But we are nearby to one place that we can get to. The dance hall. So I'm just gonna have to remember to come back to the casino later. Anyways, before Aurum can come in there and kinda delay me, let's see if we can't get this done quickly. Alright. Go in here, and this room, you remember. And I'm gonna go through them as we finish each section. What's your poison bar? The What's Your Poison bar is one of the great draws of the Sexy Brutale. Every cocktail here is spiced with just a touch of exotic venom from one of the highly dangerous creatures kept within the mansion. It is these venoms that gives drinks served here a kick and flavor that most will have never experienced anywhere else. The practice is both highly dangerous and extremely illegal, which only adds to the appeal and palate of the drinks. It is said that the most delicious and dangerous venom is harvested from an enormous spider lurking deep in the mansion. Not that deep. The dance hall. The Marquis considers himself an audio pioneer who loved to experience and experiment with a truly eclectic range of music. By mixing the old with the new, he threw parties that offered something truly different for his guests. Nothing brought him more joy than seeing new and exciting dances created in order to keep up with the fresh sounds played in his dance hall. Marquis liked to say his balls were greatly admired by high society, a comment for which he would usually be sharply rebuked by his wife. Alright, next up is the guest rooms. We don't actually have too many we need to find in there. I know one of them is the aquarium. There's Willow's blue room, and then there's Tequila's room. So, I'll see you guys up in the guest rooms. Okay, here in the guest rooms, let's head for the Master Aquarium. Then, we're going to want to try heading for Willow's blue room, which I'm guessing is just meant to be her bedroom. But it seems like we're going to have to go around. If only to avoid running into her. Knowledge of this place floods your mind. And then Tequila's bedroom, which we never actually went into. Okay, then. Close the bar. The guest rooms. Tequila's room. Tequila Blue, Belle, and Willow Blue have always had a room reserved for them when they visited the mansion. Despite the Marquis's best efforts, Tequila never wanted any particular luxury lavished on her. She only needed a place to sleep and access to the practice stage. But this year, she has been a little disappointed by a patch of rising damp in her room. To top it off, she hears noises at night. It sounds like dark secrets whispered in her ear, making it hard for her to sleep or dream without images of terrible visions coming at her from deep, cold places. Oof. The hungrier lock. When Willow Blue discovered the Marquis had successfully attained an actual Juju guppy, she was filled with dread. Far from being a colorful superstition, these ancient demons will sometimes take the form of a tiny fish in order to get close to people of influence, or who have a lot to lose. Though she never speaks of it, Willow is a true voodoo princess, blessed, or cursed, with a second sight. Knowing the danger the guppy posed, Willow created a powerful lock to the secret chamber where the Marquis had hidden the fish so that no one could enter by accident. The lock will only open to the correctly prepared charm. Which makes it all the stranger that Willow is able to enter the room, considering the fact that she loses her charm. Whatever. The Secret Chamber. The Secret Chamber is home to one of the Marquis's darkest, secrets. Knowing his wife loved and missed the sea, he obtained the rarest fish of all, a juju guppy, from the deepest swamps of the Caribbean. These tiny, brightly colored creatures were believed to house the soul of an ancient demon. Owning such a fish is entirely illegal, but for his wife the Marquis was willing to break any rule. He created a beautiful, lush chamber, the heart of his mansion, for his wife. Could sit and watch the tiny guppy. Eleanor confessed that spending time in the chamber with the guppy made her feel greatly uneasy. She said it would whisper to her, and she would be overcome with sadness. The bell tower, the gigantic bell mounted in the heart of the mansion, was once used to mark significant events taking place throughout the day. It is made of bronze and gold alloy, which was crafted by Aurum runes, to produce a mellower sound than usual. Despite this, it can still be heard clearly in every part of the mansion when it is rung, no matter how far away the listener. Aurum was unsettled by the bell, however. As he said, the note it gave was far more haunting and sad than he expected, no matter how he shaped and reshaped it. Grinmaw, Deep Demon. Old as stones, Grinmaw is the true form hiding behind the tiny Juju Guppy, which, honestly, that picture doesn't quite look like him. That the Marquis bought for his wife as a gift, completely unaware that the legends were real. One of the true voodoo demons of the deep, Grinmaw resembles a gigantic anglerfish with tiny, colorful guppy as the lure at the end of his tether. Only those with the second sight can see Grinmaw's true form, but he delights in whispering madness to any who will listen. Willow knew what was really in the tank in the secret chamber and created special candles that would reveal him for a confrontation. But once unmasked, he proved to be more powerful than she could have imagined. The Marquis met Willow when he traveled to the deep swamps of the south, looking for a truly special gift for his wife, a mythical Juju Guppy. He found Willow selling antiques in a tiny shop where every piece on display was more macabre and fantastical than the last. As if she had a second sight that allowed her to see the stories behind the artifacts, Willow now searches out unique and misunderstood curios for the Marquis to display in his mansion, and has been given her own room to stay when she returns each time from her travels. This year, Willow was horrified to learn the Marquis had finally tracked down that special gift and is keeping it in the mansion. Ooh. Eleanor's painting room. A talented artist, Eleanor loved to paint and sculpt. She was, as Lucas liked to say, fond of making a mess. To create her studio here, Eleanor stripped down and repainted every inch of the walls by hand, making it forever her own. The many paintings across the mansion are almost exclusively Eleanor's works. She loved to adapt existing styles and put a flippant or unsettling twist on them. The Marquis, ever fond of secrets, sealed off the room behind the studio and installed a hidden door behind one of the paintings to create a luxurious chamber for his wife. Master Aquarium. Realizing that aquariums were an excellent way to both to please his wife and show off to his guests, the Marquis wanted to collect only the rarest of fish. Devil's Hole pupfish is a tiny breed of fish existing solely in one muddy hole in one particular desert. Once every 100 years, a bizarre mutation will manifest and one will grow to an enormous size and display extraordinary coloring. These are known as the Devil's Monarchs. Lucas obtained a government license to own one and preserve one of these, much to his wife's delight. However, this is still not quite the rarest or the most unusual creature kept in the mansion. No, it is not. Next up is the music rooms. See you guys there. Okay, we've already got the instrument pool room. We just need to get Tequila stage, the band room, and the dressing room. Okay. Now let's see. Band room we can get right now. Tequila's dressing room, however... No, wait. I can get Tequila's dressing room. Her stage, however, is going to be another problem. Let's see, it's already past 4 o'clock. So I'm gonna have to fast forward a bit if I want to speed up this process. Alright. Instrument pool room. Marquis liked to say he blew so hard at playing most instruments, he almost literally sucked. However, he was an excellent pianist and a general audiophile. When Eleanor sang, the Marquis would frequently accompany her, and playing together was one of their most cherished pastimes. The instrument pool is a shallow ornamental pond surrounded by stone replicas of instruments played by some of the couple's favorite artists, and in the cabinets are instruments owned by famous musicians from history. Every one of them is maintained and kept fully tuned, and a guest at the mansion who is happy to play for an audience is welcome to perform with any instrument they please. Tequila Stage. The stage within the music room wing of the mansion features one of several delicate stained glass murals commissioned by the Marquis. Designed by the architect genius Thanos Gorecki and created by master goldsmith Orem Runes. Marquis created this stage room primarily as a gift to the singer Tequila Bell, who is regarded as a living national treasure due to her extraordinary voice and talent. Whenever Tequila visits the mansion, she has the room entirely at her disposal. She is often accompanied on the piano by Red Rockridge, ex-head croupier for the Sexy Brutale and an unusually gifted pianist. The band room was another practice room for any of the guests or entertainers at the mansion to make free use of. It was actually most popular with several members of the staff who had their own full house club band that would frequently play during the masked balls each year. It was a little-known secret that many members of the house staff were musicians who actually came to serve at the Sexy Brutale for the sole reason of gaining access to the treasure trove of instruments that the Marquis had accumulated. More valuable even than the instruments, however, is the opportunity to talk and learn from the extraordinary caliber of musicians who visit the mansion. Dressing room. The dressing room was created to allow Tequila and any other performers a private space where they could prepare for any shows, of which there were always many at the Sexy Brutale on any given evening. The area was originally another room for displaying instruments and other items from musical history, but these were all hastily stored and locked away in the adjacent storage room. A laundry chute allows for changes of clothes to be quickly processed by staff, but in later years the room below was converted into an exotic butterfly house, and so the chute fell out of use entirely. It may, however, still be connected, and not that anyone will put anything down it, of course. And then next up is the Theatre Brutale. Alright. I believe... Can I fast travel quickly from here? No, it'd be faster to just head down the stairs. Alright. See you guys in the theater. Let me just make sure. Yep, there's just two I have to get down there. The theater itself and the Moloch Egg, which I might need to reset time for that, which is unfortunate. But oh well. Okay, here in the Theatre Brutale, we have the theater waiting room. And let's see if I can get it from here. Yep, I can get it from here. Perfect, so I didn't have to reset time. The Theatre Brutale. The Theatre Brutale is one of the jewels of the crown of the Sexy Brutale. It has hosted countless plays and featured some of the most extravagant and involved sets ever created. The Marquis has always been a particular fan of escapology, and the current setup on the stage is for a particularly dramatic, but fairly simple, death-defying feat. Even though it is meticulously rehearsed, the spikes and electricity involved are very real. In addition to his love for traditional plays and acts of escapism, the Marquis was also increasingly interested in immersive theater, and one day wanted to plan an interactive event that would include the entire mansion. Ooh. The Moloch Egg. The Moloch Egg was one of the Marquis' most guilty pleasures. The egg itself was one of the three legendary treasures created for the Russian nobility by the Runes family, the greatest goldsmiths in living memory, of which Orem is a distant descendant. The reason the Marquis acquired it, however, was mainly because he knew that his old friend and security expert, Grayson, was obsessed with the egg and driven almost to madness with a longing to see it. The Marquis, fully capable of being a complete bastard when it amused him, delighted in dropping none too subtle hints to Grayson that it was hidden somewhere in the mansion. The Switch Room. The Marquis is a passionate supporter and enthusiast for theater and the arts. Also, he is an enormous show-off and loves nothing more than excessive displays of wealth and passion. For the most recent stage production, featuring an enormous gilded cage, he arranged for thousands of volts of electricity to be rerouted into the theater. As a token nod to some form of health and safety, to activate the electricity, 2 fail-safe switches must be flicked at the same time. It's conceivable that the mechanism could be tampered with, meaning that the same process would be needed to turn the electricity off. But the chances of that happening are surely too small to worry about. Marquis's Chamber. Marquis had several offices that he used throughout the mansion, but his favorite was this room located close to the theater Brutale. He was always looking for new and interesting shows to host, building many bespoke stages along with his architect, Thanos Gorecki, for one-off performances. In recent years, much of the original furniture from the room has been relocated, but there are still many important personal touches to the room, and secrets known only to the Marquis or those very close to him. It was also believed that this room was where he kept some of his most famous and important personal artifacts and treasures. The theater waiting room was created to allow visitors to the theater Brutale an area to relax and prepare for the show. The ticket booth is purely for creating souvenirs. No guest of the mansion ever paid for an event, despite some of the most exotic and unique shows in the world going on stage here. In recent years, the Marquis was increasingly impressed with immersive theater, and was even planning some shows that would potentially incorporate the entire mansion and take place over hours or even an entire day. Interesting. Now, while we're here and while it is late, I may as well try and take care of the casino. Hopefully I'm still able to. Yeah, it should be late enough that they're both dead. And that is a disturbing thought to just casually have. Oh, she's still alive. Okay, fair enough. Is Clay still alive? He is also still alive. Oh, not for long, though. Well. Shouldn't be long for this world. Yep, she is gone. A horrific way to die. Her body, it's slashed all over. The cuts are so deep that bone is showing. Yeah. Anyways, for the casino. The camera room. Keeping the mansion and its guests safe and secure is an enormous task, and one which the Marquis and his security team took very seriously indeed. The previous head of security, Clay Rockridge, would often confirm suspected cheating from this room here, but take no immediate action. It would only be later on in the grounds of the mansion after dark that the perpetrators would find themselves and their heads held underwater in the beautiful garden fountain, but only until they saw the error of their ways, of course. Yikes. The Casino Center. The most famous game of cards ever held at the Sexy Brutale was between Alexander Minsky the Cruel, a Russian diamond magnate, and Big Mac Rockefeller, a Texan oil baron. Cameras were installed to show the game, ostensibly for the other guests' enjoyment, but also to prevent cheating on the part of either of these two notorious liars. In later years, cameras were installed throughout the rest of the casino so that any game or room could be shown on this monitor. The original game ended, by the way, with neither a win or a loss, but rather in a fistfight which saw both men disbarred from the casino for a year. Hehe. The Butterfly House. The Marquis held a particular fascination with exotic, colorful, and above all, venomous creatures. He created this tropical room to house some of his most beautiful and dangerous specimens, in addition to using their toxins to flavor and spice the drinks he served at the mansion, a practice which thrilled and delighted as many guests as it horrified. He enjoyed nothing more than walking through this room, knowing that a careless step or misplaced touch could end his life. He kept the room safe under lock and key, but there were whispered rumors among his staff of a horrific creature growing unchecked in the sweltering darkness. Okay, then. Now, after that, we have the Heaven and Hell Staircase, of which there is only one, the Furnace Elevator. There's also the basement, which we actually have all of. The Gardens, which we already got one of, and I've already read it, but I may as well read it again. Then we've got the Chapel, and lastly are the Secrets, of which we have all. So, I'll see you guys in the Heaven and Hell staircase. It might be a bit because I have to restart the day, but so be it. Okay, took care of that. The Hell Room. The Hell Room was one of two rooms that Eleanor planned to paint, a Heaven Room and a Hell Room, based on her love of some of the mansions that she visited when she was younger. However, while creating the demonic artwork that covered every inch of the Hell Room, she was overcome with a great sense of dread and unease. The Hell Room was later wallpapered over, leaving only one image uncovered. She called it the Golden Skull, a skeleton of a young child with beautiful golden hair. The Heaven Room was never started, but lies 2 rooms to the west. Oof. The Dining Hall. The Dining Hall has never been used to hold formal meal, as staff and guests alike find it a deeply unsettling room to be in. A dumbwaiter connects down to the kitchen, as is usual in mansions of this size. As a somewhat macabre joke, the Marquis had the room laid out for a dumb supper, a meal for the dead, which was a reference that he was certain Willow would appreciate. She, however, found no humor in it whatsoever. Oof. The Furnace Elevator. At the center of the mansion is a glorious statue carved in the shape of a phoenix. Is that what it looks like? I guess. It is one of the crowning glories of the mansion, a marvel of vision, art, and engineering. The statue was originally an enormous furnace that warmed the mansion before the entire heating system was redesigned and improved by Thanos. The Marquis also included a secret in the statue, however, shared only with a very select few. It conceals an elevator leading down into sections of the basement kept hidden from prying eyes. So secret, in fact, that the original safety codes to activate the elevator were changed so not even Thanos knows the true combination. Yeah. The basement. The Great Gold Elevator. Reginald Sixpence was one of the closest to the Marquis of all the guests who visited the mansion. The Marquis recognized that within Sixpence was a true spark of genius, and he confided and colluded with him like no other. Sixpence knew about the basement and created a mechanical elevator using sections of gilded steel that Aurum had created to his specifications. For many engineers, knowing that their greatest work would be hidden in the depths of the basement would be an insult, but Sixpence truly lived for the pure joy of the challenge, a trait that would perhaps come to be misused. The Broken Mask Room. A twisted, insane statue stands in the middle of the room. Its purpose is unclear, as if it was crafted by a madman with only the most tentative grasp on the form, function, or meaning and place here, out of sight and mind. Above it is a glass walkway, a series of tunnels that appear to connect rooms throughout the mansion in a secret, unknowable way. What is this place? Who walks down here in the dark? The Graveyard. A cold wind blows down here. The door opens into a wide outdoor field deep in the depths of the mansion. It is impossible. You recognize the names on the graves. You recognize the carvings on the stone. The Gramophone Room. An enormous gramophone stands in the dark. It is from here that the announcements for the mansion sound out. But who would create such a thing? Aurum would lack the mechanics, Thanos the inspiration, Sixpence the innovation, and Tequila the drive. The record spins when you run, creating sound and fury for as long as you exert yourself. But you go nowhere. You arrive back at the beginning, older, but no wiser. The prison. A prison? Here in the heart of the mansion. If you were to touch the walls, you would feel hundreds, thousands of tally marks, counting the days, months, years. There is a tree growing from the cracks in the floor. How long would it take for the little sapling to become fully grown? How many years? The Card Room. A gambler's paradise or a gambler's hell? The room is dizzying. One moment there is a sense of elation, followed by abject despair. Every moment swings from one extreme to the other like the turning of a card. The effect overwhelms the senses, absorbing every moment of consciousness. You feel an entire life could be lived feeling this way. Swinging from a high to a low and back again and again and again, but could it really be any life at all? As you think through these thoughts, a deep chuckle, rich and welcoming, echoes through your skull. You recognize the voice without knowing it at all. The Clean Room. A laboratory? A hospital? A torture chamber? The room gleams with advanced technology and machines hum in the background. There's something on the slab, the outline of a person perhaps? There is heavy breathing, as if the machines are forcing air into someone's lungs. The Gardens. The Marquis was an indifferent gardener, but Eleanor loved the mansion grounds, and under her care they flourished. The fountain and its statues were carved from a single block of marble, imported at phenomenal expense and worked on day and night by Trinity for almost a full year. The full extent of the mansion grounds extends far beyond what can be seen from the terrace. Next up, the chapel. And thankfully, we're right next to it. So, yeah, I'll just see you guys there. Okay, there's one room. Whether it's the smoking room or the waiting room, I couldn't tell ya. We have the hunting room. Really? This ain't it? Well, I know the safe room is this. There we go. That's the last of the brochure. At least it should be. Let me just double check. Yep, got that. Got all the guests. We already read them when we collected their invitations. The casino, the bar, the guest rooms, the music rooms, the theater Brutale, the heaven and hell staircase, the basement, the gardens, the chapel. The smoking room. Who knows what schemes hatched here in the smoky haze of the Marquis's most personal inner sanctum? What greatness was planned? What madness was plotted? Lucas and his uncle-in-law, Sixpence, would often sit together here long into the evening, discussing the future for their families. What ambitions did these two discuss? What dreams did they dare realize together? A place where events occur, both tragedies and triumphs, are often recorded. What are the humble spaces where ideas first take seed? The safe room. The Marquis had many secrets and many expenses. An enormous amount of effort went into making the running of the mansion appear effortless, but none of it came without cost. This room was where the unofficial versions of official documents were kept, a beauty parlor for accounts where numbers were massaged and rules were relaxed. Grayson himself constructed the safe in this room, utterly uncrackable to anyone without the code. It kept the truth at the heart of the affluent-seeming mansion, hidden away from prying eyes. The waiting room. The most nondescript of nondescript rooms. Please relax and take the weight off. There really is nothing of note to take note of here. Most people would likely have completely forgotten ever having seen this room, if they ever did even see it in the first place. Would you even recognize it from this angle? Perhaps you caught a peek, just a glimpse of a hint, once before, long ago. Does it feel like a lifetime has passed since then? For some it certainly does. The room itself may not be important or noteworthy, but perhaps we should see if the other side jogs our memories. Hunting room. A hunter in his misguided youth, the Marquis came to abhor the concept as he matured. He kept his trophies as a reminder of the man he no longer wished to be, feeling guilt and sorrow whenever he looked upon them. In this way, he was able to remind himself of who he had been, and in turn, who he never wanted to become again. His wife discouraged him from visiting this room, not wanting him to cause himself unnecessary suffering, but exposing himself to the grief and pain was the only thing he believed gave so many unnecessary deaths at his hand any meaning. Huh, that looks like concept art for this. Interesting. Secrets. The King in Red's Chamber. A room of true horror exists in the twisted, dark heart of the mansion. An ancient man, his body broken and ravaged by the atrocities he has endured, hangs suspended in a chamber that forces breath into and out of his lungs. Surrounding him are 7 mirrors, showing him the murders of the guests throughout the mansion. With every death, the man weeps tears of blood. When the tank is full, a nightmare engine rains the blood down over the mansion, starting the same hellish day all over again. He is the near-mindless source of power that fuels the endless day of the sexy Brutale. This is the throne room of the King in Red. The Secret Haven. Hidden away in the mansion gardens is the tiny cottage where the Marquis and his wife would spend their time together when not planning and organizing the hectic and draining schedule of the mansion. It was a solace for both of them, and the more time the Marquis spent there, the more he longed to retreat from the demands of the mansion and its stress, spend more time with his wife, preparing for a new life as a growing family. It cannot go on. The Room of Old Habits. You found me again, eh? You dared lock me away? I missed you, old friend. I will rip you apart. The adventures we got up to together, you were mine. Don't you miss those days? Your rage and joy was nectar. Let's play around together. I will only need one. I know there's so much to think about, to catch up on. Give in. It's all so easy. Just deal the card. Deal the card. Spin the wheel. I will never let you leave. It'll be just like old times. Come closer. These chains really aren't necessary. Come closer. Seems the Marquis might have made a deal with the devil of some kind. Sexy Brutale. Fire raging throughout the mansion? How did this come to be? Where is this? Can it be real? There must be a path through the flames. A way to fight past this hellish burning nightmare to a better place on the other side? This is what storybooks teach us. Surely, that past every great child are the green fields of success and happiness? Then let us forge onwards. Let us push through the pain in the blind hope that somehow, in some way, a better world awaits. The chapel. More concept art. More concept art. Marquis was not a religious man. Not in his youth, at least. But his wife was, and the Marquis cherished her. He originally built the chapel as a gift for Eleanor, then, over the years, found himself spending more and more of his free moments in the quiet contemplation here. Whenever he had a difficult decision to make, it was here that the Marquis would sit and think. He felt increasing guilt over the fact that he also used the construction of the stained glass window as a particularly devious cover for one of his most closely guarded secrets. The planning room. The room is covered in sketches, diagrams, and notes with a scale replica of the Sexy Brutale mansion on the table. The model shows every fireplace in the mansion, marked clearly with a flag. Pieces of clockwork mechanisms and volatile-looking substances are scattered around. It appears that the Marquis and Reginald Sixpence were collaborating on a secret project together. To what end? To what purpose? The clock tower. Welcome to my home, old friend. Or should I say, our home. It feels good to finally be able to speak, face to face. Well, the gold mask does somewhat get in the way. But we've always understood each other, haven't we? Thanos? No, I'm afraid it's me who's been leaving these little notes. It's always been me. I built this place, brick by brick. Sweat, tears, and blood. I'm glad you are here, in a way, to see where it all began, or where it all ended. It can all be yours. It can all be ours. After all, what else is left, old friend? Lafcadio Boone. In his youth, Lafcadio Boone was a gambler and casino owner, much like the Marquis. But in his older years, he renounced his indulgent lifestyle and turned to religion. How the two met is unclear, but over the years they became firm friends, and Lafcadio has always been something of a guide and mentor to Lucas. When trying to cope with the pain and loss of his family, the pain that ultimately created the mansion's never-ending loop, Lucas imagined himself as Lafcadio, drawing what little solace he could from his old friend's faith and strength. This kind of confuses things, because the story seems to imply that Lafcadio never existed, and that it was just Lucas, some part of Lucas that was trying to let go of the pain. But at the same time, this also seems to imply that Lafcadio might have been an actual person. I'm not 100% certain on that. Anyways, Lucas Bonds, the Marquis. A wild and erratic gambler, Lucas's addiction brought him to the brink of ruin and madness before fortune smiled on him, making him rich beyond his wildest dreams. He created the Sexy Brutale Casino Mansion, but as costs mounted and his priorities changed, he sought a way to escape, resulting in the criminal deaths of those he held dearest and destroying everything he was or dreamed of. Over the decades that passed, Lucas relived the consequences over and over, unsure whether death or life in torment was his correct punishment. Perhaps now, finally, the manifest love of his wife's memory has allowed the old man some peace in his final days. Eleanor Bonds, the Red Dove. Eleanor met Lucas through her uncle, Reginald Sixpence. Originally, she was enraptured by his flair and charm, but as the two fell in love, Lucas came to rely on her grace and judgment in almost all challenges they faced together. When Eleanor became pregnant, everything changed for Lucas, and he began to look for ways to provide a secure future for the both of them. Her death, and that of their own unborn child, unmade Lucas's life. Their memory is pure agony to him, but he also knows that she would not want him to suffer forever. The events of the Sexy Brutale were born from the impossible conflict between these two states of mind. The Bloody Girl. The Bloody Girl is the manifest memory of Lucas's wife Eleanor. His wife brought purest joy to Lucas, but knowing that he caused her death is white-hot, impossible grief and agony. The bloody girl has been trapped in the mansion all the years that Lucas has tormented himself. To look upon her is torture, with every detail of her suffering impossible to forget. Etched across every part of her face and body, but within her memory is the seed of forgiveness. Lucas knows deep down that she would still want him, one day, to be able to move on and live a life. So not everything of worth was lost on that one terrible night. Deuteronomy Bond. The Gold Skull. The man in the golden mask is the terrible aspect of Lucas that never wishes for him to forgive himself. In his mind, the mansion has been created to keep the tortured memories of everyone fresh and alive. In this way, Gold Skull believes that he honors them as best he can, by never allowing them to be forgotten, and never allowing him, Lucas, the Marquis, to forgive himself and move on with his life. Gold Skull has ruled the mansion in Lucas's mind for decades, and only in the most recent of times has the love of Eleanor, as the bloody girl, made the tiniest crack in the nightmare prison that he has created. Gold Skull's will shapes the mansion, but the raw power to impose his vision is drawn from a deeper, darker well. The King in Red. With that, we have completed the entirety of the brochure. Now, I am out of time, but this is the finale, so it going on longer than the actual time, well, that's just normal. Because there is one last thing. The Room of Old Habits. A room we have not seen, but one that we can gain access to, and with our completed deck of cards, can actually gain something from. I'm going to restart the day, which, if I recall correctly, should place us back at the theater, which is the perfect place to start from. Because there's something we need to pick up before we can go to the Room of Bad Habits. Or was it Old Habits? I've completely forgotten. Room of Old Habits. We need this key. Key of Old Habits. A heavy rusted key. It exudes menace. And where we want to go is... right this way. The Door of Old Habits. You've unlocked the door to a deep, dark place. Some things never die, and with that, I've gotten every last achievement. Now, allegedly, this should lead to the bar, but it does not. There are enormous chains around the creature's wrists, securing him to the playing table. So he's here now. I want to play cards. You want to play cards. Blackjack. I know a card game we can play. Love blackjack. You love blackjack. They stole my cards, but I lost my cards. I know they're here. Get my cards and we can play. I'll pretend there is a prize. You will want the prize. Please get me my cards, so you want the cards. Ah, Lucas, I've been so lonely. You brought me all my cards. Perhaps a demon he sold his soul to for a fortune? Who knows? You know, there was always another option. You didn't have to choose. You could have chosen not to choose. Gold Skull, Bloody Girl, Red King, staff, guests. Ha! Forget them. Forget the pain and suffering. Come back to me. Forget them all. Just play Boone. Lose yourself in the game. I will take care of you. I gave you this mansion. I will help you. I loved you long before any of them. And you loved me. Let me help you. Just take a card. Well, only one place for us to go. Take a peek. You can see all the guests, everybody here, and yet our mask does not glow red. We are safe here. Heh, catty old boy. Weird that they freeze up when we talk to them. Get down with your bad self. Don't tease. Feels good to cut loose, though. I'm so happy to be here, Lafcadio. I get the feeling that it's somehow your doing. Lafcadio, isn't this perfect? What more could any of us want? Thank you so much. You don't have to think of what's next. There's just now. Just this moment. Forever and ever. Yeah, trading one form of entrapment for another, huh? Pretty sprightly, eh, Boone? Reckon you could match this? I doubt it, old friend. Haha, Lafcadio. Took me an age to learn this. Gray and I have been working hard. Thank you again for helping me to save him. Maybe one day I'll tell him. Ha! Never mind. Boone, you sly old dog, come join in. Can't believe the Marquis was keeping the Moloch egg from me the whole time. Ah, Lafcadio, what a party! I hardly know what to do with myself. You know, I can't even remember why I was so worried about a little fish. This is good. Feels good to be here. Laffy, well, if it ain't a relief to let someone else handle the music and just let my hair down. You see this man move? I gotta watch my heart rate, but you also gotta live, man. Did you ever head down that creepy elevator, man? Seems like we were kinda confused and worried about Lucas, but look how well this all turned out. Yep. But, like I said, this is just trading entrapment in one place for entrapment in another. Yes, a lot less macabre, but eh. Stained glass window filters light through from the outside. And by shattering that, the illusion is shattered. Well, and yep, that is another ending you can get for the Sexy Brutale. I've already given my thoughts on the game, I really like it. First time actually getting all that, so yeah. Because I basically lost track in my personal playthrough of what cards I had collected. I suppose that's one of the things they could have improved upon. But yeah, no, we've already seen this one. I'm not going to show it again, but yeah, that is it. I already have my next series planned out, already done the audio testing for it, and it'll be coming up on Wednesday. Oh, I suppose there is one thing I should say is that I am recording this week's episodes, or the week these episodes go out, ahead of time, because I have some vacation time from work coming up, and as much as I do enjoy recording Let's Plays, I would also like to spend that time doing whatever I please. So, yeah, I'm recording these well in advance. Anyways, with that, I'm gonna end the series off here. If you guys like what you see, please leave a like, subscribe for future content, don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notifications for when I upload, and please, leave a comment down below this video. I'll see you guys for our next series. Thanks for watching.